yeah, just a quick thank you in advance to Alison for spending her time to put this webinar together and to host it. But without further ado, I'll hand over to you, Alison. So over to you.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you, James, for letting me be part of this. I'm really excited. In the spirit of being real and genuine and not faffing about, my next slide is going to be riveting, so you'll definitely want your notebooks and pens, because it's going to tell me that I need to record, which I've done now, which is excellent. So we're going to very speedily skip over that one, but this is an introduction to my 4-step new student blueprint. So basically what we're looking at here are the 4 phases that we need to have in place to fill our classes, whether that be dance or gymnastics or how to make bread classes. It applies to everything, whatever the class might be. These are the 4 steps that we need to go through, and so that's what we're going to have a look at today, which is super fun. Okay, I've done that. There we go. So welcome. If we haven't worked together before, this is me. I've been a customer of LoveAdmin for a long time. They were the first software in the UK I found that could actually support direct debits. So that's why we jumped. We were with a US company who were great, but obviously doing direct debits kind of internationally was no. So I found LoveAdmin and I think they're brilliant, which is why I'm here. So I was really excited when the opportunity came up to be able to kind of put my 2 hands together. So what I do to help dance business owners and kind of to play off how LoveAdmin have helped free me up the time that I need to be able to do this stuff, which is the secret to growing your tuition-based business, let's call it, whether that be dance or gym or anything else. So there's me looking all smiley, standard. Okay, I'm just going to scooch that out of the way. There we go. So when we think of marketing, often dance business owners, tuition business owners kind of think it's just one thing, or that it's 11 billion things. And if I'm just going to let lovely Deborah in, there she is. Welcome, Deborah. And actually the way I do it is I've kind of drilled it down to 4. I think if we can have these 4 things in place, the 4-step new student blueprint, it will just work. So it's going, marketing is not just that one thing, but equally it doesn't have to be all the things, swirly overwhelm. Oh my God, where do I even start? And in that overwhelming fug, probably going, actually, I'm just going to do nothing, which obviously is not what we want. So here's the thing. If you miss one of the steps, your attraction of new students will not be anything like as effective as it could be. Okay, so don't panic. I'm going to tell you what they are. So just keep watching, scribble as many notes down as you like. If you've got any questions, probably whack them in the chat, and then I'll come back to them at the end. I think is probably the easiest way to do it. So 4 steps, we're going to go through them. And if you follow these 4 steps, you will have a nice steady stream of new students rocking up for your classes, which is super fun. Okay, so step 1, attract. This is all about getting your message in front of new people who don't know about you yet. So this is not speaking to your students or speaking to the mums at the school gates of the students that you already have. It's not any of that. This is going, where are there new people who don't know that I'm on the planet yet? Okay, now this phase is vital, but it can be expensive. And typically people will kind of throw a lot in this bucket if they've got any kind of budget at all, potentially without having those other things already lined up. I'm just going to make sure that we're all muted. 2 seconds. There we go. Fabulous. Okay, so it's easy to put a lot of money in this bucket thinking this is going to get me lots of new students, and it's a very important part, but if we don't have the other elements in place as well, then it's kind of, you know, you might well have a leaky bucket, so to speak. Okay, so examples of the attract phase are things like Facebook ads, podcasting, writing articles, having kind of referral schemes where you're going to mention things to other people who are going to mention things to other people. So it's very much, these people don't know I'm on the planet yet. How can I change that? So how can I attract them into my world so that they're like, yeah, I know a girl who, or I know a guy who does, or whatever. Okay, so that's step 1, is attract. So this is all about getting in front of new people, people that don't know about you yet, people that have got no clue that you're on the planet. So this is not current students or current fans or anything like that. This is just people that if they said, what do you think about Alison and what she does, would go, who? So that's phase one, is getting in front of those new people. Facebook ads can be a challenge, not so much because Facebook ads are particularly complicated, but because Facebook ads keep changing. So there is that to note, but they can be very, very effective because they can be very, very targeted. So you can be like, okay, within this postcode with children of this age who are interested in this thing. So the targeting makes them really, really powerful, and you'll learn it one week and they'll have changed it by the next week. So kind of, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but in the spirit of being kind of open and honest about what's working really well in my business right now, Facebook ads is where we're spending our money and seeing a good return. Podcasting, so this is, if you're like me and you like to chat, you might have noticed already, something like a podcast could be really good, where you've got the opportunity to be speaking on subjects that are interesting and relevant to people who might be interested in you, and then getting that in front of a new audience. Same goes writing articles. And then referral schemes are when two businesses are working together. So for example, let's say my studio has got a really nice like burger restaurant next to it called Jack and Grills, and we love them, and often the team will frequent Jack and Grills, and we have a nice little kind of tie-in with them that we're very strategic and intentional about mentioning each other's businesses. So people that go into Jack and Grills for their lovely burger and their dirty fries might well find that, oh, you've got a 7-year-old with you, well, do you know what, next door? And it's just kind of taking advantage of the conversations that other businesses are having with people who potentially could be your people if only they knew they were on the planet. So that's step one, attract, getting in front of people who don't know about you yet. Step two, engage. This is all about getting those new people to actually engage with you. And this is vital. I mean, I couldn't even begin to guess how many new businesses messages pass in front of my eyes every day. And if I don't then have any engagement with them, they're going to go jump and straight out again. It's, you know, we have so much information that's just coming at us from all angles. If you don't actually then engage with that business, you might well subconsciously be aware that they exist, but it's not going to kind of get in here, which is what we need. So this is the only way to get a return on your ad spend or your effort spend. So in step one, if we just scooch back, Facebook ads, obviously you're spending money there. These things for the most part probably aren't costing you a great deal of cash, if any, but they are going to be taking up your time and your effort, which actually is more valuable than the money. I appreciate that's easy to say if you don't have a massive marketing budget, but at the end of the day, if you use money, you can get it back. If you use time, that's gone for good. So we need to look at the time and effort implications of these as much as the money we're spending on these. And if we're not being very strategic about how are we then going to get those new people to engage with us. Oh, we've got lovely Ruby. Let's let Ruby in. 2 seconds, gang. There she is. Wonderful. If we're not then really making an effort to engage with those people in a very strategic and intentional way, we're wasting either the money we're spending on something like Facebook ads or the effort we're spending on something like setting up a referral scheme. So here we go. You must, from the land of must, get their email address. Okay, so all these people that are coming into your world and just becoming aware that you're on the planet, you've got to get their email address. You've got to get an element of engagement from them. So here are some ways to do it. Now, a lot of people will hear that and then go, cool, I'm just going to ask them for their email address. Yes, do that. That, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and don't overcomplicate things. But a lot of people now are very wise to, and then a form comes up and then I put my email address in and then you're going to stalk me until I unsubscribe or die. Oh, let's let lovely Angela in. 2 seconds. Here she comes. Wonderful. So yes, you can just ask for it, and some people will just give it, but some people will be like, I'm not sure about that. So it's more effective if you can find a lovely way of them wanting to give you their email address. So think about what they want when people are contacting you or looking for classes globally. What do they actually want? And how can you frame that in a way that it's not just all there on your website, that actually they've got to engage with you to get at it. So for example, fill in this quick form and we'll send you our timetable. No muss, no fuss, really simple, really straightforward. And it feels like service, which is one of the things that I love about it. You want this and I will help you. I will give you this thing that you need. And this is how we're going to do it. You could offer them a fun quiz that needs their email address. We had lots of success with this probably about a year ago, maybe 18 months ago. And it was, if I can ask you to all cast your minds back to when you were potentially reading kind of those teen magazines, so however long ago or not that might be for you. And there was always like, click which fast food you choose to find out the name of the person you're going to marry, those kind of quizzes. We did something similar to that, but for dance. So like, is your child sporty and energetic or pretty and elegant, or and it was all very generic. You know, no one is suggesting that from any kind of physical or kind of personality characteristics we're actually going to be able to tell you which dance class your child's going to enjoy, but it was a bit of fun. So they clicked through and like, we think your child would love this class. And, you know, they put in their email address and then we'd send them the class recommendation. It was loads of fun. Engagement for that was really high. We got lots of email addresses. And again, the nice thing with it was really fun. It felt light and it felt on brand for something that people are going to do for recreation, like a dance class, like a gymnastics session. The other thing that was particularly good about that, and with all due modesty was quite smart, is not only did I get their email address, but I also got the quiz answers, which told me how old their child is, what their child's name is, a little bit about their child. Okay, not every athletic sporty child is going to choose street dance. They might well choose tap, who knows? But I already had some information as well as their email address to be able to go back to them. Okay, so with that as the example, Facebook ad going to fill in this fun quiz, gets me their email address and some information about their child. Super cool. Or just give them a freebie. So we did this during COVID, worked really well. We gave out a couple of like video tutorials. If your child's bored, kind of click here and we'll send you 3 street dance tutorials. So we want to be looking at what's in it for them. Like, why would they give you their email address? We know we want it, but what's in it for them? Why are they going to do that? What's going to make them go, yes, that seems like a fair exchange? So yeah, there's a couple of things there. At the moment, we're going with really super simple. We're doing experience sessions at the moment, which is kind of like it's like an open house. It's like an open day. It's all special and bells and whistles and whatnot, but basically it's like an open day. And you can come along and have a place at that, and it's free, and you have to fill in this form to book. It's really straightforward. So that's what's working, or rather that's exclusively what we're doing for the engage phase at the moment in the run up to those events. So that's step 2. So number 1, get in front of new people and just let them know you're on the planet. Number 2, actually have engagement with them that results in you getting their contact details. And my preference, and you'll see why in a second, is their email address. Okay, step 3, nurture. The third step is to nurture those people, which is, ta-da, just one reason why you need their email address. So examples of the nurture phase are things like a series of emails that tell them what they need to know about your studio. So we've already mentioned the timetable, maybe a studio tour, maybe directions, maybe top tips for the easiest parking, maybe the 3 best places to get coffee near your studio. So it's just giving them a chance to kind of get to know you and feel like you're a real person behind these dance classes or gym sessions. To give them what they need and literally to make them feel nurtured, literally to make them feel like, oh, this person's looking after me. Okay, I know what to expect. I know where to go. I know where to park. I know I can get a coffee if my child is settled. All of those things that, again, it's leading with service. How can we make people feel special and valued and looked after and nurture that relationship? And a series of emails, if you put the right thing in the emails, can be a really good way to do it. So always think, again, we all get a bazillion emails every day. What emails are you opening and why? And what emails are you just going to delete? And if we can give something of value in the emails, i.e., this one's about parking, this one's about getting a coffee, this one's about, you know, temporary traffic lights, here's a way to get past them, or, you know, whatever, then people are going to not only be aware you're on the planet, they're not and then they're going to be someone that you can engage with and contact. But actually, then they're going to be looking out for your emails as, oh, this person looks after me. This person's got my best interests at heart. This person's making sure I have what I need. This person is offering me service, which is super important. You could also do values-based emails that showcase what you hold dear. So this is, we're going to talk about the values of our studio, of our business, and this is what makes us us, and this is either going to resonate or not. So one of our best open rates ever was 10 reasons why not to dance with us. It was quite ballsy, but it was basically, we know you're busy, so we're going to give you 10 reasons why you'll hate classes with us. And basically, we went through 10 polarizing statements, so 10 things that would either make people go, actually, I want that, or, I don't want that. So as an example, a couple of years ago, we moved away from doing dance exams. Not hating on dance exams at all. I did them growing up and I loved them, but for the studio we run now, they're just not the right fit. So number one, we don't do dance exams. The impact of opening that is going to be someone going, well, I want dance exams. Well, cool, they're not going to contact me. Happy days, good. Be gone and find someone who does what you want. People who maybe have danced elsewhere and maybe had a bad experience with an exam are going to go, they don't even do them. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. So you can do stuff based on the values on which you run your business that are going to make people go either, yes, that's me, or, oh God, that sounds horrible, I don't want that. And either is good, incidentally. If they read it and go, yuck, then they're going to unsubscribe and you're spring cleaning your list, happy days, or they're going to go, oh, she's talking to me, and then we'll keep nurturing the relationship. I mentioned it before, a series of video tutorials so they can experience your classes right now. This is great for adult students, particularly, or teenage students, particularly those that are going to be able to actually operate the tech themselves, to use the video tutorials, but also those that are more likely to be a little bit wound up ahead of coming to your class, who will actually go, but remember, we're leading with service, we're leading with looking after, making people feel valued and special, nurturing the relationship. Actually, I can spend a bit of time with Alison doing a couple of classes online before I go in. And that doesn't need to be something you're present at. That could be 3 things that you uploaded to YouTube, probably during COVID. You probably already got them sat there. You just need to make them look a bit kind of fancy and put them in a playlist. So then they're starting to not only be nurtured by the fact that you're showing up regularly in their inbox, they're actually being nurtured by having a mini session with you virtually from your YouTube channel or whatever, where they get to see how you talk, what you look like, what your voice sounds like, what you say when people do something good. You're like, oh yes, guys, well done. Like, they get to feel that, which really is kind of almost drawing in what it's going to be like to be a student before they even commit to stepping through the doors, which is super fun. Okay, step 1, get in front of new people that don't know you're on the planet yet. Step 2, engage in some way that results in you getting their email in return for them getting something nice or useful. Step 3, nurture the relationship. Keep offering them value, keep showing up for them, keep making them feel special and valued and important, and nurturing that relationship. And then step 4, invite. My experience is some people do the attract phase, so they run a Facebook ad or whatever. And some people do the invite phase and say, do you want to buy a dance class? Very few people are doing step 2 and 3. And even those people that are doing step 4, which is inviting people, they're not doing it strongly enough, and they're not doing it often enough. Someone I work with for my own education says, market like you mean it. So I think particularly the Brits amongst us are very kind of, I don't want to be a pain, I don't want to keep asking people to buy, I don't want to be an irritant, oh, I don't want to be a pest, I don't want to be annoying. Here's the thing, if they became aware of you and then gave you their email address, and then they've stayed on your email address, on your email list, and potentially have been opening and engaging with emails that you've been sending, and then you invite them to sign up for a dance class, the likelihood is they're not going to think you're annoying. That's not the same as saying everyone on your email list is going to buy. They most definitely are not. But it's unlikely, if they've been having that nurturing relationship with you, it's unlikely that they're going to suddenly go, well, that's annoying. Because remember, they've been an active participant in this process, which is why it works. They became aware of you, and at that point they were passive, but from then on in, engage and nurture, they've been an active part of this relationship. So it would be odd behavior for them to then go, asking me to buy a dance class, how ridiculous. Like, no, they've become aware of you and become part of your world, because fundamentally on some level they are interested in coming along to a gym session or a dance class. So we then need to invite them to do that, and we need to do it strongly enough and often enough. Hashtag mark it like you mean it. Okay, so this is, in my experience, best if you have a concentrated, these like 2 weeks, we're full on, we're really asking people to be invited to classes. So for example, a series of emails that build excitement that enrollment is now open. So you've been waiting for 2 months and enrollment opens tomorrow, and this is the goodie bag you'll get on this day. And so a series of those emails often enough and asking strongly enough. Or I mentioned it before, emails that invite them to join you for a special in-studio experience. So our experience days, basically they get a mini class, and then there's lots of kind of, here's that word again, there's lots of kind of nurturing around it. So they come in and there's a coffee and a cupcake, and then there's a lollipop, and like there's all the things that are just gonna keep reinforcing them. These people are nice and kind and loving and looking after me and looking after my child and making sure we both have a good time. And then at the end of that experience day, it's really important that there is a very clearly thought through strategy for, and then this is the no-brainer offer we're going to give them, where we are going to strongly enough ask for them to enroll. Okay, excuse me, because it's all very well and good emailing people or getting them into the studio, but if there isn't then a really strong, and then this is what's going to happen, you've kind of wasted all of the time and money and effort of steps 1 to 3. Okay, now when we're inviting people, some people who are really super keen and who are genuinely like poised on Google looking for a dance class to book right now, will book whatever you offer them. You know, if you say classes are open, do you want to book, like they probably will. But the vast majority of people, I hate to say it, gang, as a species we're quite lazy. As a species we go path of least resistance. So unless you make it an absolute no-brainer, they're probably not going to book, not because they don't want to, not because they don't think you're fabulous, not because their child wouldn't love your classes, but because the school run and putting chicken nuggets in the oven and going to Zumba, and they've even forgotten that your studio exists. So we need to make it a no-brainer offer, something that's really strong and really compelling for them to do it, not just sometime, but right now. You're in your invite phase with them. What are you going to offer them that makes them go, yes, right now? Slightly off topic, please don't just go a free class or a free t-shirt. A free class, like they're 10 a penny, everyone does it, and therefore it's boring and not impactful, and the show up rate for a free class is not good. I'm not saying they can't work, but I think we can do better. I think we can be more creative. We're creative souls, right? I think we can do something more creative than that. And as soon as you're offering a free dance class or a free gym session, what you're actually doing is completely undermining the value of the gym session or your dance classes. Same kind of goes free t-shirt. I don't know about you, but the value in the t-shirt, I started learning to ice skate in February, and when my coach said that I was allowed to buy one of the zip ups that said coached by Jenny on it, I was like, ah! And it had value because I had to work for it, and it had value because now I feel like part of this thing, so now I want to rep the coach with the zip up. If they'd have offered it to me for free in February, I'd have gone, I've got a zip up, I don't need one, I don't care. So thinking about, in terms of making it a no-brainer offer, really do think no-brainer though, not just, oh, I can give them a free class or I can give them a free t-shirt. What can you do that really is, no, actually, this is a no-brainer. I'd be nuts not to do it right now. Okay, step 1, attract, get in front of people that don't know you're on the planet yet. Step 2, engage, get them to engage with you, preferably via the means of giving them something lovely that gets you their email address. Step 3, nurture. We're nurturing that relationship. We're having that to and fro. We're giving them value. We're showing up for them. We're making them feel special and loved and nurtured. Step 4, invite. Strongly enough and often enough, hashtag market like you mean it, with a complete no-brainer offer. Now, you might have noticed I'm a bit of a fan of using email to effortlessly fill our dance classes. So I've got a freebie for you, all about how you do that. So it's all very well saying we're going to email, we're going to get their email here, and then we're going to email them here, and then we're probably going to email again here. It's all very well and good saying that. The last thing I want you to do is get off this call and go, James is lovely and LoveAdmin sounds amazing. Alison was really fun and what she said makes sense. I don't know what the hell to put in an email. So I've got, this is a freebie, a little free course for you on exactly how to do this, exactly the mechanics of how this works. I don't want you to have had a lovely hour or so and then go, I'm just as stumped as I was before, because actually now I don't know what to put in those emails. I don't know how to structure it and all the rest of it. So I might need to just show you inside the mountain for a second to be able to get the link for that, to put it in the chat. So there we go. So there's the link to the freebie for you. And it will bring you to this page that just says, you know, this is the kind of thing you're going to find in it. It's free. And that's how you get it. Okay, has anyone got any questions at all? I'm conscious that I have just rabbited at you, which is quite standard, I have to be honest. Is there anything that either didn't make sense or you'd like me to go into in a bit more depth?
Alison, I love the idea of the quiz that you mentioned. I'm going to ask some very boring questions about it. Like, did you use like some software to create it, and how did you share it? How did you spread the word of it?
Ah, great question. Yes, I used Typeform, which it's got paid options, but the basic option, which is what I used, is free. It's really easy to set up. It's like a drag and drop your boxes and your questions. And I think I did it in about 15 minutes, if I remember rightly, on a Sunday morning in bed. It was very easy. And yeah, it's free. And then I circulated it to people that had become aware of us. So they were either following our Facebook page or in my email list. So I was circulating it to those people. You could put, if you wanted to put a Facebook ads budget behind it, you could do it that way. So have an ad going to your quiz, you know, want to find out the perfect class for your child, click here, and the ad is taking them to the Typeform. So basically you can put it wherever you would put any of your messages, so either on an ad or on a page, or if you've got an open group for people that are just interested in your classes, it could go there, go on Instagram, could go anywhere really.
And do you have like a rolling email list of people who are, do you have different lists, like you've got your current students list, do you have basically a list that people get added to and then they start the journey, the email journey?
Yeah, you got it. So it's a really good question. It's important that we've got two clearly defined lists. We've got this list who is our customer. So that's, you're probably going to have that on whatever software you're using to run your classes. So for example, our student list is on LoveAdmin. I email our students through LoveAdmin. And I have a separate email software on ConvertKit, which I use for people who have expressed an interest, given me their email address, inquired about classes before, maybe used to come to classes, basically everyone who's not current. So anyone that's previous or interested or has just come into my world through any channel goes into that list. And then, yes, they start the journey through that.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions?
We've got one in the chat from Catherine. How many emails is too many? Which is obviously a really good question. I tend to start ignoring if I get too many from the same company, which is very valid. Very valid.
Right, let me skip back. So at this stage, when you've just got their email address, then that would be something that just kind of acknowledges, you're like, oh, thank you so much for filling in the quiz. Little Flossie sounds like she'd love such and such, blah, 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 blah. Then into the nurture stage, we do one a week. So regular, showing up, but not overwhelming. Likely, if you start ignoring emails from a company, it's because they're sending you what they want to send you rather than what they think you want to read. And that's a really important distinction. If you're only ever emailing saying classes are open, buy now, book this, new hoodies, then yeah, people are going to start ignoring it. But if you're sending 5 top tips to help your child feel confident starting infant school, and then the next week you're doing how a dance class can help you get your child to tidy their bedroom, and then the next week you're like 5 stocking fillers for the dancer in your life, it's all value. So I'm not saying that they'll necessarily read all of them or indeed open all of them. They definitely won't, and that's fine. And really, you don't even need them to. You just need them to be happy and comfortable having you in their inbox and opening the ones with the subject lines that really resonate. Oops. Opening the ones with the subject lines that really resonate with them. So the ignoring thing, I would say, is probably the companies that you're getting annoyed with, and we all do, are probably sending you what they want to send rather than what you want to read. And that's the switch we need to flip. But in this phase, I'll be once a week, every week. And you can automate this, gang. You don't need to do this. Oh God, it's Monday, I've got to write an email. No. We're going to get this organized, written, automated, done. And I can't remember the last time I manually sent an email to my nurture list. I literally couldn't tell you, no idea. And then in this phase, it depends somewhat how you run your intakes. So, excuse me, if you have, say, once a term as an intake, and everyone starts in September and then that's that, I would say definitely 2 weeks before you start, 3 emails in the first week, 3 emails in the second week, no faffing around, mark it like you mean it. Because remember, they haven't had a sales message from us for ages. They've had just value, love, value, looking after you, tips, enriching your life, I'm lovely in your inbox, enrollment's open, oh my goodness, 2 weeks, bam, 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 bam. That's a little more challenging if you have evergreen enrollment, i.e. people can just sign up whenever. There are ways around it, but it is more tricky, which is why with my clients, I suggest we move to having specific intake periods, because otherwise then it does become very much like, well, at what point am I going to give them a no-brainer offer? Because there isn't really a time that they need to enroll or not. They can enroll today, but if they miss it, they could enroll on the 17th of November and it wouldn't matter. So that's kind of a little extra bonus thing. I'm not saying change the structure of your business just on a wing and a prayer, but that's an extra little thing to kind of consider, is if you have got evergreen enrollment and people can just sign up whenever, it does weaken your marketing message. So what we do is our main intakes are September, January and April, and then if those intakes have given us what we need, that's it, you've missed it, which is really powerful because we all want what we can't have anymore. If we've had a more disappointing intake, then sometimes we'll do a second intake later that term, not very often though. And you can present that then as value of, we know some of you missed it and we love you guys. So, don't get used to it happening, but just this once, what we're going to do is reopen in February or whatever. Either way, as soon as you've got that fixed intake period, whatever that is for you, then you can do 2 weeks, 6 emails, bam, 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 bam. No muss, no fuss. And because it's concentrated into that period, not every other email they get from you is trying to sell them something, then I don't feel like it's a problem. And in fact, if anything, it's service, because we all know, oh yeah, I want to do that thing. And then we've got to get the chicken out of the oven and, we don't even remember we've forgotten it, if you see what I mean. So then it's service. Oh yeah, no, I did want to do that. Oh goodness, thank you so much for reminding me. I quite often get those in that intensive period. Thank you so much for keep reminding me. It kept slipping my mind. So reframe this stuff from what you want to tell them into what they want to read, and reframe this from bothering them into serving them. And I think that will really help. Does that answer the question, Catherine? Good.
I was going to ask a question, actually, if that's all right. Obviously, you talk about Facebook ads, which I think it's probably fair. We could probably do with a separate webinar on that because it's just such a beast of a topic. But for you personally, Alison, is that something do you do them yourself? So you self-taught, or have you outsourced it, or have you sort of upskilled a member of your team? Because I appreciate some people on this webinar might already be competent, might not ever want to touch them, might want to learn themselves, or maybe they've got a younger person in the team who's potentially interested in learning it. So how do you handle the Facebook ads? Is it something you do yourself, or do you use someone in your team, or do you pay someone externally?
It's a great question. Initially, I did it myself, and it was effective. And the next time I went in to look at it, Facebook had changed everything, and I was just so aware that I spent a whole day kind of mastering this and getting kind of the mechanics down, so I understood what I needed to do and what meant what and all the things. And it was just so disheartening when I then went back in and I'm like, oh, now it all looks different. What? Oh God, I've got to do this again. So actually we outsource it. So important distinction, I wouldn't necessarily recommend outsourcing the concept behind what's going in that Facebook ad. So I wouldn't just say to someone, in fact, many years ago, we did say exactly this and it was a disaster. I wouldn't say to someone, I need a Facebook ad, I want this kind of kid, off you go. I am very hands-on in, this is the kind of look, I provide the photos, these are the photos I'd like you to use, this is the kind of language I want used. I'm a bit extra. I gave them a word bank of these kinds of words sound like me. I would never say these kinds of words. So I didn't abdicate responsibility. I had quite an element of creative control over what was going in them, but the actual tech of doing it, outsourced. And I know the kind of initial reaction to that is going to be, oh goodness, well that's more money. I've got to spend money on the person doing it and money on the Facebook ad. Yes, but I guarantee the money you make back on the Facebook ad will be exponentially higher than anything you or someone on your team could achieve, because you're not doing it all the time. You know, could you get your next door neighbor to teach a basic dance step? Yeah, probably. As well as you? No. As fast as you? No. As effectively as you? No. With as good an end result as you? No. So can you do it yourself? Yes. I don't, for that reason. I can spend my time and energy on, here's the creative, here's making sure it looks and sounds and feels like me in my studio, and let someone else go to town on the techie stuff. And like I say, the person has paid for themselves many times over, because they get a much better result than I do, because they understand like the techie bit and the algorithmsy bit much better than I do. You know, it's a full-time job, it's a profession, right? So yeah, my recommendation is outsource if you possibly can. Okay,
I think we'd probably we'll probably look at doing a webinar on that, sort of for those that want to learn, but also, you know, for how to outsource as well. So maybe that's something we could look at, because I see that Gemma and Catherine have both mentioned they've dabbled with Facebook, and maybe sometimes it works for them, sometimes it doesn't, which is kind of the pain of it, I guess. It does fluctuate. But yeah, maybe we could help with that from a webinar.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely does fluctuate. And that is where having a professional comes in, because, you know, the amount of times that Lou, her name is, I love Lou, the amount of times she's contacted me and gone, okay, X, Y, and Z is changing, so do I have permission to do A, B, and C? And I'm like, yeah, go for your life, like as long as it looks and sounds and feels like this. So it could well be that it's a Facebook thing in the background, like part of the algorithm or something that they've changed that means an ad that was working now isn't. And if you only understand the broad mechanics of Facebook, like I do, and probably like most people here do, you probably don't know it in enough depth to go, that's the problem, that's what's causing this, and therefore what I need to change is that. So yeah, it's a great point, really good point.
All right, does anyone else have any questions? I'll just do a bit of blabbing, just in case anyone wants to type any more questions. If you haven't pop your details in for Alison's freebie, then make sure you just scroll up and hit that link, and then you can pop your details in and get those emails, email guide, which I think will be really handy. If not, then I'll begin to wrap things up. If there's any more questions, anything you wanted to mention at all, Alison, before we, where can they find out more about you?
So the best thing to do is to go to the freebie. That will take you to obviously to a page for that, but it's also got a link to a little about me section that kind of tells you kind of how I got here, how I came to be doing what I'm doing, and kind of how to work with me if you'd like to. But yeah, if you head to the freebie, and then there should be some navigation on the top of that to take you to about me and how to contact me and that kind of thing.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, there's not any more questions. Then with LoveAdmin, you know where to head to, loveadmin.com, if you need any help with your admin. But if not, I just want to say a huge thank you to Alison for hosting this webinar. I think I've made a lot of notes. I think some great points in there, and love the little freebie at the end. That's a nice touch, sort of practicing what you preach there, Alison, by making sure you get people's email addresses. I love it.
Got it.
So, but yeah, thank you for everyone for taking your morning to join us. I hope it's come in handy. And watch out for more webinars from us. So there'll be more to come for sure.
Bye, everyone.